Sup, nerds? It's Monday again. Happy Monday.
Growing up, I didn't know my extended family super well. Part of being homeschooled in a large family is you don't really consider that you need any connections outside of that main family group. So most of the things I know about my aunts, uncles, cousins, I learned about from stories told by my parents. One such story was about a relative who had a reputation as kind of a serial divorcee. Like, he had multiple marriages already, which had all only lasted a few years. It was on the third or fourth wedding that some family member was like, "Hey, so I hope you two are happy and you have a happy marriage and all." To which he replied, "Yeah, we'll see how it goes." And like most of you, I don't really know how I feel about this attitude toward the marriage. Like, I think if you're going to all the trouble to have a wedding, your feeling should probably be more along the lines of,
"This is my life's love who will burn for me like an eternal flame. Our love will be legendary,"
instead of the attitude one might have toward a one-night stand. However, I do kind of like this response just because it's not one we hear from people whenever they're going into big life decisions very often. Like, whenever people are choosing a career or going to college or they're making a relationship commitment, they're usually really optimistic about everything working out great, or else they're absolutely terrified. The reality is, of course, that things can and do go wrong all the time. Any marriage or career is subject to unplanned challenges and changes, which of course may end up affecting your initial ideas of what it is you even wanted out of life in the first place. Is it bad that I'm comparing your life's partner to your career? I've often been openly critical of this idea of toxic positivity, this idea that seems to permeate self-help and a large portion of the internet, where people think that any problem can be solved with a can-do attitude and the right soundtrack. It's an idea that is often coupled with manifestation, which is the idea that you can somehow conjure up the idea or the thing that you want by essentially wishing for it hard enough. Now, obviously, that doesn't work, but there is a surprisingly large amount of people that seem to think it does and strongly believe in it as a self-help method. But much like an overemphasis on positivity, committing yourself to manifestation ultimately opens yourself up for a lot of disappointment, as sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes things aren't going to work out, and there's not really anything you can do about that. But as much as that sucks, it shouldn't stop you from doing things. Just because you flunked out of school doesn't mean you can never get your degree. Even if you haven't finished that novel or written that great opus or gotten your art to where you wanted it to be when you were younger, doesn't mean that you won't ever. And yes, just because you've been divorced a few times doesn't mean that you can't find love. Positivity still has a place in your life. Optimism can be a very empowering tool, especially when things get tough and you need to just keep going. But beyond that, sometimes it is important to keep in mind that things may in fact not work out, and that's okay. At the risk of sounding like a self-help guru, you will still be here. You're going to survive your failures until the day you don't, which, statistically speaking, probably won't be your fault. Is it bad that I'm so casual about death? I don't know. I'm asking myself too many tough questions today. Bottom line is, keep taking risks. Keep pursuing the things that you want. Keep trying your best every day. And in the words of my uncle, cousin, or whatever relationship that guy was, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. I hope you all can find love. And if you're on your fourth marriage, I believe in you. Unless you want out, in which case, that's your right. And I'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye.